Going a different route from Ellen Light, where I specified I wouldn't use the supernatural elements of their series, it's time for me to lean into those supernatural elements entirely with Yugi Muto from Yu-Gi-Oh! And Total Drama Island. Yugi Muto is not known for his strength, but to make up for it, he is naturally a nice person who can form genuine connections easily, while his alter ego Yami is a strategic mastermind. But will that be enough to beat the heavy hitters on Total Drama Island and win the entire series? Let's find out. Yugi is going on the Screaming Gophers, as despite the Killer Bass having people crazy enough to relate to his friend group back home, the Screaming Gophers are a much tighter unit. Ironically, despite having more drama, they also have a tighter bond from having to unite against Heather, so he is going on this team in the end. Noah can also stay, because there's enough non-elimination episodes to justify that. In episode 1, Yugi would arrive, and Heather would ask what's wrong with his hair. Yugi would say that he's born like this, and Noah says that there's no way he came out looking like that. Trent tells him to lay off the poor kid, it's his first day here and he's already being grilled. Lindsay says that she could totally give him a makeover if he wanted. Yugi would politely decline the offer. Yugi in confessional would say that he wasn't aware that he stood out much until they pointed it out. Maybe coming here was a bad idea. Cody would talk to him and tell him that he's a little weird, but he seems like a good guy. His name is Cody. Yugi would greet Cody, and Cody would ask Yugi if he thinks any girl here is cute, to which Yugi would deny that, not wanting to think of romance when he's here to win. Cody tells him respect, man. Me personally though, Gwen is my kind of girl. Give me some time and she'll be mine. Yugi says that he wishes him luck on that journey. That's all that needs to be said about this episode, as it's mainly an introduction. When the teams hear of the challenge, Yugi is terrified. He doesn't want to die this early. Trent tells him it's fine, he'll be alright as long as he lands in the circle. Yugi says that's not what he's talking about, the impact is more than enough to kill him. This would worry the Gophers, but when the Bass start jumping, their fears would be mitigated. Heather would say, "Nice job, Yugi. They're not going to create a challenge that can kill us, idiot." Speaking of which, I'm not jumping, I'll get my hair wet. This causes Lashana to help Heather face her fear by throwing her off the cliff. Eventually it's only Yugi on the cliff edge, and Yugi would wonder what he's doing here. And as the fear and sadness hit their peak, Yugi finally snaps and the puzzle begins to glow, causing Yugi's first transformation into his alter ego, Yami. Heather would yell, "Nice light show, now how about you do the challenge?" He would look over the edge and then jump, diving in to hopefully distribute his weight so evenly it acts as more of a needle rather than a cannonball. As a result, he makes it, and despite him not making the biggest impact, the team cheers for him. Trent tells him that was really cool of him to do, and Lashana tells him it's about time he got into the team mentality. Yugi would snap back to reality and apologize to them for not jumping. Cody would say, "Dude, did you hit your head? You did jump." Yugi would be surprised and wonder if he passed out and fell in despite not remembering. Not much needs to be said about the second part of the challenge, as the Gophers destroy the Bass. During their party, Trent asks if he really doesn't remember jumping in, and Yugi says that he wishes he did. Trent tells him that it doesn't matter, he really came through for them. He respects that. When talking some more, the conversation would shift to who they like, and Yugi would give the same answer he gave to Cody, and Trent says that he respects that. Him personally, he's here to win of course, but he thinks he has a thing for Gwen. This makes Yugi a bit anxious, as he can already sense a potential issue in the future with Cody and Trent. Ezekiel would still say his sexist remark to be eliminated. In episode 3, they have to run a marathon around the island to eat today. Yugi would try his best, but I can't see him making it to the feast. This would be his best mistake, however, as during the part where they have to stay awake for as long as they can, Yugi has slightly more energy than the ones who did eat the feast. Yugi would be talking to Cody, and while Cody is talking about Gwen, Yugi would notice Trent and Gwen talking, and he'd say that it seems like Gwen likes Trent. Cody would say that it looks like that, but she's just being nice. She probably doesn't feel romantically attracted to him at all. Yugi wouldn't push yet, not wanting to cause Cody to be angry, especially after Ezekiel got eliminated for making people angry. When he sees Heather steal the MP3 player, he'd go to Heather before telling her to give it back. Heather would say no, but Yami suddenly appears and says that he'd advise giving it back to her before a fate most upsetting befalls her. Heather would be freaked out and say, "Fine, freak, you go do it if you want your head bitten off." Yugi is already back in control at that point, and as he holds the MP3 player, he feels terrified. He knows Eva would probably kill him for having this. He sits down and Cody asks if he has anxiety issues or something. His leg has been bouncing non-stop, and he's only been staring at Eva. Wait, he gets it. You like her. Yugi wants to deny it, but thinking about it, he realizes he can use this and he says, "Yes, I do. Can you please bring her over here?" He goes over and asks Eva to see Yugi, and he watches as Eva shoves him over as she stands up, scaring Yugi as Eva goes over and simply says, "What?" in an annoyed tone. Yugi quietly says that she dropped this and hands her the MP3. Eva's eyes widen and she grabs it, telling him thank you repeatedly. She would have went ballistic had she found out it was missing. Yugi says that it's no problem as Cody comes back and asks if it was a success. Yugi says it was. Cody high-fives him and says that's what he's talking about. He's gonna get Gwen so they can both score. But he's lucky. Cross-team relationship, that's like a forbidden fruit kind of thing. The rest of the challenge goes practically the same, but when it reaches 72 hours, Yugi falls asleep and Yami would take over, doing everything in his power to stay awake. Gwen asks if he wants to talk and Yami ignores her, conserving every bit of energy he has left. Gwen in confessional says she can't believe she's saying this, but when Yugi actually locks in, he gets this look in his eye and it's kind of attractive in a weird way. Given Eva does not destroy the cabin, they have zero reason to vote her out, meaning Harold is probably the second most likely option, getting rid of a player that is going to be crucial in the future. Episode 4 is the Dodgeball competition. This would be worst case scenario for Yugi as he is not a sports guy. He would already be preparing to leave before Heather says he has to go up in the first rotation against Eva, Courtney, DJ, Tyler, and Jeff. Tyler still messes up, costing his team a lot of momentum, but afterwards Eva steps up and she easily takes people out. She tells Yugi thanks for giving her back her MP3 player last week, but this is a new week as she throws the ball at Yugi. His boring life flashes in his eyes before Yami takes over and catches the ball and throws the momentum back at Eva, who gets a concussion from the hit. The Gophers cheer and tell Yugi that he just got rid of the strongest player, and Yami says that he takes no pride in hurting her, and besides, he doesn't have anything left to give either. They then notice how he can't raise his arms anymore due to the trauma he sustained from Eva's throw far surpassing his body's threshold. Yugi is in a lot of pain, and Cody tries to high-five him before realizing he doesn't exactly have a hand to high-five with right now. Eva would come over and Yugi expects to die before Eva tells him that it was a good throw. Heather tells her to go back to her awful team. Noah expresses how much he doesn't want to engage in the challenge pretty clearly, which upsets Yami, who takes over, who tells him that if he doesn't want to play, he should just quit. He's not anything special either, but at least he plays the game. Despite Noah not competing, that actually may be for the best, as the Gophers win with Eva out of commission and Harold not being there to catch the ball. Now, who is getting eliminated on the Bass? Well, Courtney does say she will get rid of Duncan if they lose, but I really can't see her going through with it, since even back then they had this weird HR violation vibe going on, and even more so, this should have been Tyler's canon elimination episode, and I'm a gigantic Tyler fan, so I'll give him the better elimination and get rid of him here, especially since it actually makes Lindsay's goodbye confessional feel relevant compared to in canon where she doesn't even talk to him in episode 7. Episode 5 is the talent contest. Yugi would attempt to show magic tricks, but he sucks at them. Heather would say it's about time he showed a weakness. This would depress Yugi, who leaves, and Trent tells her to back off of him. He's trying, unlike someone on this team, talking about Noah. Noah would tell him to screw off. Trent goes over to Yugi and tells him it's okay to have failed in one challenge. I mean, he himself hasn't been that good. Yugi says that he knows it's okay, but Heather is so mean, he can't stand it. She tried taking Eva's MP3 player as well. Trent says, wait, what? Surprised by this revelation. He says that he's sure she has her reasons, and Yugi says he already knows why. She wanted to see Eva go insane, so she gets herself eliminated. Trent says it's messed up, but at least she's thinking about the team. This upsets Yugi, who asks why we can't just play fair and win. Trent tells him to chill out, he's not the enemy. He understands both sides of the argument. Unfortunately, it's an all or nothing issue, so I don't see you two finding common ground. But just know, in the end, I'm on your side. We need that wild side of yours that was in the Dodgeball challenge. Yugi in confessional would be depressed as he realizes that nobody actually wants him here, they want whatever happens to him when he blacks out. Gwen would be upset after the events of the episode relating to Cody, and would ask Yugi if they can talk, and he'd agree, just happy someone wants to talk to him for once rather than the other self. She says that she likes Cody, as a friend, not as a partner. Please make that clear to him. She leaves and Yugi is now in a worse spot as he needs to break the news to Cody. Cody would ask him if he saw him and Gwen. They were getting pretty close, only a matter of time now. Yugi tells him that they need to talk. Cody says, "Aw man, is it about Eva? It's okay dude, you'll get over it." Yugi says, "No, it's about you." Cody says, "Oh, I get it. You think me and Gwen are gonna be the priority and I won't be your friend anymore. Don't worry about that." Yugi says, "No, it's none of that. She doesn't like you." Yugi would break the awkward silence by saying that he's sorry, but she just doesn't like you. Cody says, "Oh, I see. Thanks for telling me. I'll see you around." He leaves and Yugi decides to not chase after him, not knowing what else to say. During the challenge, Heather begins to read the diary, which now has her talk about Trent and another person who interests her a bit due to his performance last challenge. Gwen is about to run away and Yami awakens and tells Heather to stop airing her secrets out to people she doesn't consent to hearing them. Despite him practically whispering this, it felt like it was inside of Heather's brain directly. She says whatever, it was boring anyway. She would have wanted to mock him, but the intimidation of Yami stops her. Yugi then comes back and is still just as angry as before. He doesn't really care anymore what happens to him during the blackouts. The blackouts seem to help him. Now, would Gophers still lose? I don't think so. I don't think anybody on the best can really surpass the score differential right now. So Gophers win. After the challenge, Heather would ask Cody if Gwen rejected him, and Cody would say that she got Yugi to do it. Heather would say that's so cruel, perfect for Gwen. She would never do that to him. She sees the value that Gwen doesn't. She kisses Cody. Bridget is eliminated because, let's be real, she had by far the worst performance so far in any challenge, and that's a tough spot to win considering Tyler last episode. In episode 6, teams would have to camp outside and the first team to arrive back wins immunity. What kind of challenge is that? That one really sucks. Yugi would be walking in the woods talking with Cody when Heather comes over and takes his attention away. Yugi would want to believe that it's real, but he knows the reality isn't fair for guys like them when it comes to relationships. Yugi would go to Lashana and ask if she thinks the relationship is for real, and Lashana says after last week, hell no. Girl's playing him for a fool. Yugi would thank her for her answer, and Lashana tells him not to be a stranger. She wants to understand how he can flip so quickly from this to whatever happens in challenges. Yugi would say that he knew she would like that side better. He doesn't even remember what happens in challenges most of the time. Lashana says that doesn't matter. It's still Yugi, even if he doesn't remember it. Yugi would become satisfied with this answer. Gwen would ask Trent why Yugi shifts between nice and his challenge beast self, and Trent says that he's not sure, but maybe he just takes competition seriously. When they arrive at the campgrounds, Yugi would ask Heather if she truly loves Cody, and Heather would say, of course I do. I love him so much that after I win the money I'll marry him and go on a honeymoon cruise. That's what you wanted me to say, right? Fact is, I'm just using him, and if you tell anyone, I'll break your little Yugi boy body in half. Yugi would be devastated and try to warn Cody, but Cody yells at Yugi, asking why he can't be happy for him now that he's gotten over Gwen. Heather takes Cody away while Lashana gets Yugi away from the situation. Yami would detect Izzy's intentions and take over before telling her that as long as she doesn't make a ruckus, things will be plenty entertaining tonight. Izzy would agree, excited to see what's gonna happen. Yami would ask Heather how much she loves Cody in front of everyone, and Heather would say that Cody was the best thing that's happened to her. Yami would ask if she's willing to put a bet on that, and Heather would ask what he's willing to give her. Yami would say that he's willing to give her $10,000. Everyone would be shocked but notice the briefcase he's now holding, unaware if he's always had it or if he just conjured it. He tells Heather the rules. It's a game of complete honesty. You will be telling people what you truly think about them. For every person you get through, you get $1,000. Heather says that the money is as good as hers. Yami says that we'll start easy with Lindsay. Heather says that Lindsay is my BFF. She's someone I truly value the input of and appreciate her input. Yami says that was a lie. Heather says that he has no way of knowing that even if it was true. Yami says maybe, but how about your soul tell it for us? Suddenly Heather screams as Mantra's creatures lunge for her, only visible for her. Cody rushes to her aid and asks what he did before Heather tells him to get off of her. He's so pathetic and disgusting. Heather would be shocked by what she said, but the truth keeps coming out as she airs her true thoughts about everyone. She inevitably runs away, trying to stop anyone else from hearing her. Trent says that was weird, and Gwen says yeah, weirdly cool. Trent gets jealous and says that it wasn't that cool. Cody is disappointed and Yugi asks if he's okay, and Cody says that he just thought he found someone. It's not fair. Yugi asks where Heather went, and Lashana says she's sure she's out there somewhere. When morning comes, Heather actually is still in the woods, still not being able to stop talking as every thought she has becomes verbal. Gophers end up losing as a result, and at elimination it's unanimous and Heather goes home. Heather would leave, but not before saying that she will get a revenge on Yugi for whatever curse he put on her, confusing everyone else who don't understand. Episode 7 is the Fear Factor Challenge. Yugi's fear would be whatever happens to him when he blacks out, and Cody says that's the best part about him, making him self-conscious once again. When the time comes for the challenge, he's locked in a pitch black room to simulate the blackouts, and while he sits down, the landscape begins to change and he sees a version of himself on a throne. Yugi would ask who he is, and Yami says that he is his friend. Yugi asks why he takes his body over. That's not what a friend does, and Yami asks him to look at the facts. If he loses in the dodgeball game, he's gone. If he doesn't help him jump in the first challenge, he's gone. If he doesn't put a curse on Heather, she stays and you leave. Face the reality, you're a fragile high schooler. I can give you the edge you need to protect you. Yugi says that he thinks he understands, but Yami has to promise not to kill any of them, and Yami says that he will accept that deal. He doubts any of them deserve a fate like that anyway. Just be warned, someone is going to try and form a new alliance. Don't be paranoid, but be careful who you trust. Yugi would leave the room as if he saw a ghost, but ultimately happy he's not going insane and his blackouts have a real reason. Justin would go to Noah and tell him that they have to team up. Let's be real, they both have secrets they don't want to get out. Noah agrees and says that he doesn't like Justin, but he agrees they need to work together. Now the score for Gophers would be 7 out of 11 facing their fears, and Bass would have 5 out of 7 complete their fear, with Courtney still not facing her fear to win the challenge for them. Despite Courtney deserving to leave, the majority alliance vote off Katie, upsetting Yugi immensely because she didn't deserve to go over Courtney. Episode 8 is the Bony Island challenge, where teams must go to Bony Island, build a rescue fire, and then come back home. Yugi would be paired with Justin and Noah after he gives the open spot between Trent and Gwen to Cody due to how bummed out he was. Yugi notices the tension almost immediately, and Noah breaks the silence by telling him straight up that they're voting him out at the next vote. Yugi says that's fine, he'll just do what he can in the challenge and leave gracefully. Justin tells him not to act so smug. If he's gonna get angry, now's the time to do it. Nobody can see it. Yugi says that it's fine, really. The complete dismissal of anger towards them upsets Noah and Justin more, as they wanted to have a justified reason to get rid of him. When the fire building part of the challenge begins, Yami would take over and grab Beth's arm before she can take the cursed Tiki doll. Beth would take it as him confessing to her, but Yami simply says not to take the idol. If she does, a curse will ruin the entire team. Beth is shocked and asks how he knows that, and Yami simply shows the Millennium Puzzle, saying he knows a cursed object when he sees one. Beth would begin to piece together that the blackouts aren't Yugi, they're just a curse. Gophers inevitably lose, and at elimination, despite having the numbers with Justin, Noah, Beth, Lindsay, Owen, and Izzy voting for Yugi, Izzy would still get chased off by the RCMP, making the stakes higher than ever on the Gophers, with 5 members being in Yugi's alliance and 5 in Justin and Noah's. In episode 9, teams are required to face off in a game of paintball that's more like cops and robbers, with robbers being deer and cops being hunters. Hunters on Gophers would be Lashana, Beth, Noah, Justin, and Owen. Deer are Cody, Lindsay, Gwen, Trent, and Yugi. Deer on the Killer Bass would be Courtney, DJ, Duncan, and Sadie. Yugi would desperately beg his other self to come through, and Yami would do so, seeing Justin and Noah and knowing that the two are just going to spend the entire game trying to get him. Yami would ask Chris where they put the dodgeballs, and Chris would say that they're in the gym, they're probably not going to be using them again, so they're all his as long as he can do something that'll boost ratings with them. Yami would gather the balls, and once the challenge begins, Noah would fire at Yami, and Yami would pull out his improvised slingshot, the ball bouncing off of the rubber and being flung back into Justin, who yells that he's hit. Cody has no reason to be eaten in this challenge by a bear since Heather isn't here, so he gets to stay unharmed. Yami would be cornered at the edge of a cliff, and Noah would say that it's over. And Yami asks if they're really willing to throw the challenge to get him out, and Justin says they'll do anything to win. Yami says with that in mind, let's play a game. Noah says hell no, aiming his gun until Justin pleads him not to shoot, he will just bounce it back at him. Yami says that if they win, he will let them shoot him as many times as they see fit. Noah is skeptical and says that he's out, and Yami says that's fine, he can leave today if he wishes, he will give him that honor to reconsider. Justin asks what the game is, and Yami says that it's simple. They both will roll his Millennium Puzzle, and the direction it's pointing to, you will have to take 2 steps toward that direction from where you are currently standing. Justin would say that this will be easy considering how close Yugi is to the edge. He rolls it and it points towards the cliff. Yami takes 2 steps towards it and asks him to hand the puzzle to him. Justin wouldn't think and hand it to Yami rather than throw it to him. He would try to step back into his position, but it would feel like a weight was holding him in place. Yami would say, remember the rules, it's from where you're currently standing. Justin yells that he was tricked, and Yami would say on the contrary, he was just too brainless to think of the implications more than himself. Yami throws the puzzle further down the cliff past Justin, and it points towards the cliff. Yami tells him to step towards the cliff, he will go get the puzzle. Justin yells that he cheated before lunging at Yami to take them both down. Yami dodges and Justin falls off the cliff. Yami says that Justin is ugly on the inside, his outside appearance should reflect that. Noah checks on Justin after he falls, and Justin looks at himself in the mirror, and instead of seeing his usual beauty, he sees a monster. He tells Noah to get away from him, he's hideous. Noah wouldn't understand what's going on since Justin would just look the same, maybe with a bit more bruises. The challenge ends, and Gophers would lose as Noah and Justin spent the majority of it chasing Yami, leaving their hunters depleted in numbers. Justin would be in hysterics, saying that he's unlovable now, and Yugi would feel awful, but Lashana would tell him that it's not his fault, don't feel empathy towards them after they tried to eliminate you. Noah in confessional would say he didn't want to eliminate Justin, but now he's hysterical. He knows one thing for sure, he won't mess with Yugi anymore. He doesn't want to end up like Heather or Justin. Justin would be eliminated, asking to wake up from this nightmare as he leaves. Episode 10 is the cooking challenge, and honestly, Gophers probably lose here still. The challenge isn't hard enough to force Yami out, and though there would be some good interactions between Yugi and Lashana, it wouldn't be anything groundbreaking, and Owen still messes up. In the end, they lose and Owen leaves. Thank God this was a short one. In episode 11, teams must trust each other to win challenges. Round 1 would be a rock climb with one person holding the rope and one climbing. For Bass, it would be Duncan and GJ versus Gwen and Cody. Despite Cody's lack of athleticism, he would still win over Duncan and GJ. In round 2, Jeff and Trent would need to eat pufferfish prepared by Eva and Lindsay. Surprisingly, Eva actually succeeds in doing it, and Jeff says that she's a natural. It's like she belongs in the kitchen. This would make Eva hit Jeff with a low blow, if you catch my drift. Trent would be poisoned and is out for the rest of the challenge as a result. Round 3 has Noah and Courtney getting apple shot at them by Yugi and Sadie, who are trying to land the apple on an arrow on their heads. Sadie would suck at this, but Yami would activate and in one shot lands it, leaving the Bass completely awestruck while the Gophers cheer. Round 4 has Sadie and Beth jumping off a board blindfolded while Duncan and LaShawna try to catch them. Beth wouldn't jump, still afraid of heights, while Duncan catches Sadie. In the final round, DJ and Jeff would win since Bunny isn't dead, so DJ wouldn't take his blindfold off to see that Bunny came back. Noah would know that he's the most likely suspect, so he'd congratulate Yugi on his shot and ask if he wants to eat dinner together. This would be enough to put himself in Yugi's circle, so instead of wanting him gone, Yugi chooses to eliminate Lindsay. Beth would be disappointed and be a bit fearful that she's next. Episode 12 is the boot camp episode, and once again, Yami does not activate since lifting a canoe isn't a priority for him. He'd need to have a step stool to reach the canoe and would be the first to quit, with Trent saying that maybe it's a good thing, upsetting Gwen while Trent wonders why he said something like that. He loves Yugi. Cody tells him not to worry, he'll win for them. He's pretty much gotten over Gwen and Heather by this point. It still hurts, but it's not debilitating for him anymore, if you care to know how he was doing. Gophers still win, and unlike in canon, Courtney doesn't leave. Instead, Sadie leaves, upsetting Yugi again as he realizes that the Bass have an alliance they won't stray from. Episode 13 is the Extreme Sports Challenge. Trent and DJ compete in the first part where they must skydive onto a couch, and Trent still fails, putting him out of commission for another challenge. The next part has Jeff and LaShawna trying to ride a moose without being knocked off for as long as they can, with LaShawna winning. Finally, Cody and Eva must water ski while Noah and Courtney drive. Beth would ask Yugi if they're friends, and Yugi says that they've never talked before, signaling that Yugi does have a second personality at least. Beth would threaten Yugi that if they eliminate her, she'll tell everyone about his other self. Yugi would be completely shocked but would agree to the terms. He'd ask who he should eliminate, and she tells him to eliminate Noah if they lose. Eva would be able to win pretty easily even with Noah crashing the Sea-Doo, while Cody would get knocked out after a stick rips Courtney's tops off when she tries to cut Cody's rope. Cody and Noah would be in the bottom two, and in the end Noah would be eliminated in a surprise vote. Noah would ask Yugi if he knew about this, and Yugi would say he did, feeling immense guilt. Noah would say that's cool, didn't know he had it in him. He respects it. In episode 14, teams would be separated by boys and girls and then have to eat gross food. Yugi would be in hell in this challenge, but he'd still try, intent on winning for his team. Yami would hate this challenge but know that he needs to come in when Yugi can't go anymore. Trent would eat it without complaint as he wants to be better than Yugi. The guys are all impressed by Yugi trying so hard to win for the team despite being the weakest link. This would get the morale up on the team, and in the final part it would be Duncan versus Courtney. Courtney would try to get Duncan to throw the challenge, and Yami would activate, saying that he'll be the one to drink the blended cockroaches if Duncan doesn't have the heart to do it. Courtney would tell him not to, but he would eventually crack as the guys cheer Yugi on, and Yami would sit next to Courtney. Yami and Courtney would be dead even, but Courtney would begin to try to sabotage Yugi by pulling his glass back when he goes to reach for it, making Yami activate the punishment for cheating and making her regurgitate all the cockroaches she drank, shocking everyone with how convenient that was, but assuming the desperation was because of how close she was to failing. Beth would know, however, and tell Yugi that unless he gives her his spot on the cruise, she'll tell everyone about his secret. Yami tells her that if she wants that, how about they drink the rest of the cockroaches? If she wins, she can take the cruise and reveal it to everyone. She obeys and drinks more than him, drinking them all while Yami just sits back and only drinks one. Yami would say that was a lot to drink in one sitting as she cheers, and she regurgitates them all as a result, making her look like a petty fool who couldn't accept she lost. With the current numbers, we technically don't have to eliminate someone here, so this will just be a non-elimination, fun little episode to end the video. And that's going to be the end of pre-merge. What did you think? There's definitely a lot of drama going on, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on the episode and who you think will make it to the end. With all this being said, thank you for watching and have the day you deserve.